Bee and Puppycat's second season, Lazy in Space, was supposed to be released sometime in 2019. But as we now know, it's 2020, and that hasn't happened. And with no release date in sight, I took it upon myself to figure out what exactly happened to the show, and even went so far as to call Frederator Studios to bring you guys an update. My name's Deepcut, and don't forget to like and subscribe for future Bee and Puppycat updates and other types of videos, as well as news about other cartoons you probably like as well. Bee and Puppycat was a crowd-funded animated series, and as such, they were able to release their show directly to YouTube, as the production had no investment from themselves to recoup. It was later picked up by Verve to be on their streaming service alongside Bravest Warriors, and they announced a Season 2 would be coming to Verve sometime in 2019 as well. So what exactly happened? I'm going to tell you the whole story as soon as I talk about today's sponsor, Footmouse.
Introducing a revolution in gaming. Footmouse, the first science-based gaming mouse made for feet.
I've been using Footmouse for over 6 months. My APM is over 520, my KDA has doubled, and my win rate's up.
Footmouse, get your foot in the game.
I actually used Footmouse to make this video that you're watching right now. What I didn't do, however, is use Footmouse to play Raid Shadow Legends, which is actually the real sponsor of today's video, because Footmouse isn't real. Raid Shadow Legends is an amazing game available on both mobile and PC. I personally love the cinematic graphics that it brings to my phone, making it a real gaming experience that I can actually play for fun, not just to pass time on the bus. Raid has doubled its daily login rewards from 90 to 180 days, so log in daily to get new items like silver, gem shards, or even a new character like Sickle of the Drake. Use our download link in the description and you'll get 100,000 silver as well as a bonus champion, Hexweaver, who is really useful for early in the game. All of these bonuses are only available for 30 days though, so make sure you jump on it fast. Just check your little items box here in the corner for all of these bonuses when you sign up, and they'll be there waiting for you. And now, on to the video. Thanks to a comment left by Natasha Allegri, the creator of Bee and Puppycat, we now know that the final editing session for the new season was in December, which didn't leave Verve a lot of time left over to release it that year. Many of us expected it to pop up in 2020 then, but it still hasn't come. After hearing some rumors, I took it upon myself to call Frederator Studios directly, and according to the woman I talked to, the show was in fact complete and they were now looking for a streaming service to distribute it. Oftentimes with independent productions such as Bee and Puppycat, you have a production agreement from a larger studio or distribution service that promises to buy the product but only after it is completed by a certain date. This protects the big studio from losing money on a bad production that doesn't meet important deadlines, as the smaller production company funds itself and then takes the distribution service money once it's completed to recoup their loss. This is something you would mostly see in small independent horror films that need to be out and in theaters by Halloween. Bee and Puppycat surged into popularity for quite some time, and it was the most successful animation crowdfunded project of all time. But Verve likely didn't want to be forced to pay for the second season if it didn't get released in time to capitalize off of that popularity. With the show not being finished until the end of 2019, Verve likely decided that the popularity of the show had dwindled and were no longer interested in distributing it themselves. This means that Bee and Puppycat can be picked up by another service, but it's hard to say exactly where it would go at this point. Bee and Puppycat was very popular with its fan base, but it may be considered comparatively small for a traditional streaming service, which often gets millions and millions of views beyond that of television. There are other streaming services like Apple Plus and such that are on the rise now, but it's hard to say whether or not they would pick up something as obscure as Bee and Puppycat in the middle of its second season. A lot of people are probably wondering how the current global crisis will affect this as well, and it is hard to say. One distinct possibility, however, is that streaming services like Netflix and Apple Plus are going to be motivated to pick up as much programming as possible. Their customer base depends on them uploading multiple new shows for them to consume each month, and with productions being halted for the next few months, they're going to need to fill the gap. Shows like Bee and Puppycat, which are already produced, may be right up their alley for giving people something to watch during this time. The biggest hurdle the show may face is probably its asking price. Because of how long it's been since the first season finished airing, a lot of streaming services may not want to pay a lot for Season 2, and Frederator Studios may be struggling to find the right price to recoup the cost of production, or at least as much as they can. Obviously, they're going to want to at least make some sort of profit if they hope to produce a Season 3 as well. In the end, if no agreements can be reached, there is always a chance that they will distribute it themselves. YouTube doesn't make very much money in terms of ad revenue, certainly not enough to cover a big production like Bee and Puppycat Season 2, but considering fans were willing to crowdfund $800,000 just to get it made the first time, selling Blu-rays or digital downloads could be enough to recoup the entire budget and then some. Supposedly, the average cost of a 13-episode anime series is about $2 million US, and Lazy in Space was animated in Japan. I imagine it is slightly lower budget because it is an independent production, but as far as making their money back, I think a Blu-ray or digital download with purchase release could be just enough to help them recoup their losses. After all, the original pilot has over 8 million views on YouTube so far, and with the right price, just a fraction of those views could be enough to balance out their budget and maybe give them enough to wrap up the story with a few more episodes. For now, we can't really say when the show will come, but based on the evidence, I think it will come out this year, even if a streaming service doesn't pick it up, and I for one will be the first in line to buy any hard copies they sell or sign up for any streaming service that picks it up. I even went out of my way to buy up an old Kickstarter exclusive Blu-ray of the original series. And I know a lot of you watching this are really big fans as well, so I'm sure you will too. Don't be afraid to show your love to Frederator Studios on Reddit, Tumblr, Twitter, anywhere you can, and ask about what's happening to the show and what you guys can do to help support it. Don't forget to like and subscribe for future Bee and Puppycat updates, and if you're still watching, maybe check out our sister channel as well, Geek Galaxy. I'll put a link in the description down below and in a pinned comment. See you next time.